right, it's round one of the 2024-2025 MJHL playoffs. The final series preview is the Northern Manitoba Blizzard against the Neepawa Titans. I'm joined with Kevin Pauls, Cody Bueller, and Darnell Duff. And boys, I'll be honest, this one is the hardest one to predict. Both teams have had their ups, both teams have had their downs, both teams can score, both teams give up goals. This one is like trying to nail Jello to the wall. Darnell Duff, out in the West, you've seen these teams the most. Give us your kind of overview on Blizzard versus Titans.
My initial thought is if the Blizzard want to have success in this series, it's going to be the play of Tate Timmerman. He sort of went back and forth with Alex Reedy for the first couple of months of the season, but in the back half, the 18-year-old has been outstanding. He played great at the MGHL, SJHL showcase for Team 18U, and he's certainly made a name for himself. On the other side of the coin, it's been a two-headed horde between the pipes for Casey Cookett and Mason LeBreau. Now, LeBreau is 20, Cookett is 19. So in my opinion, I would assume that LeBreau is going to get the start for game one on Friday. 2 games up at the Roy H. Johnston. That is a tough start for Neepawa. But at the same time, it's almost a good position to be in because if you split those first 2 games, you're coming home for 2 games on your home ice to try and maybe pull away and get up a 3-1 series lead. So I think Tate Timmerman is the key for the Blizzard. But I think the Neepawa Titans, I think they're a little bit of a deeper team. They play physical. I think Tim Tykonic is a guy who's going to set the bar in this series. So I think the Titans have the slight edge, but boy, oh boy, this one's going to be a dandy.
Absolutely. And I want to go on record saying I think the playoffs should be 2 at home, 2 on the road, and then 1 road, 1 home after that. I think that the home team should get games 1 and 2 at home, but that's neither here nor there. Cody Bueller, you've seen a number of games with the Blizzard and the Titans against the Terriers. They both offer some high-end skill, but they also have some depth, that sneaky depth that can help contribute as well. Just your overall thoughts on the prospective series here.
Yeah, I think both teams are pretty good. And I think this is going to be a really tight matchup. These both teams have something to offer. They've got some guys who can put the puck in the net. And it's going to be interesting to see with such a tight series which team comes out. And I think when you look at the standings, you see them. This is the tightest series out of all of them as far as where they finished at the end of the year, just 2 points apart. So really, one more win for the Titans could have moved them into home ice advantage. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how this series goes. And I look forward to a long series between the two.
Yeah, I don't know if Neepawa gets enough credit for how good that they've been and then pushing towards like they have. They just really quietly went about their business for banking points, winning games, hard to play against. And, all the talk was kind of between Dauphin and Northern Manitoba for that top spot. But like you said, like they pushed right up until the end. And Kevin Paul's that scrappiness is kind of what's made them successful. And doing it without a lot of bells and whistles can provide a lot of problems for Northern Manitoba.
And to me, it's, isn't that it kind of indicative of the way Kenny Pearson goes about stuff in Neepawa? Like it's lunch pail hockey. They have a chance to win any night. It's hard to go into Neepawa and come out with 2 points, and that's the way they do things. Like I think they took down every one of the top teams in the league at either at home or away. Their goaltending gives them a good chance at winning. They have great leadership. You talked about Tim Tykonic earlier. Mason Hartley's another one that I have my eye on, and it's kind of a contributing up and down the lineup with the Neepawa Titans. Now they have electrifying players like Miguel Bouvier with Norman as well. So this is a really tough one to call, and it's going to be really tight, but both teams, I think Neepawa plays maybe a little more physical, so could be 2 different looks, but it'll be exciting to watch.
I think it's safe to say we're all very excited that they play the lone game on Saturday night, so we can all take a break from our respective series to watch that one. Darnell, you kind of talked about it. You've been in that building a number of times. What's it like? What's home ice going to be like for these clubs? I mean, it's hard to win in the Roy H. Johnson. It's hard to win at the Yellowhead Center. So, how big of a factor is home ice in this series to you?
Well, it's interesting because both these teams play at smaller facilities. The Roy H. Johnston is a smaller rink, and of course, the Yellowhead Center is a smaller rink. I would give the edge to the Blizzard because I think their fans are a little bit more behind the Blizz than the Titans are. With that being said, I think Neepawa is on the verge of history here. I mean, they haven't had 30 wins in a regular season for 15 years. and they eclipse that. As Kevin mentioned about the Titans, they come to play with lunch pail, and they can win on any given day. So I think I like what the Titans have done all season. They have some of their key players have missed a sizable amount of hockey, including Colton Alexander, but he had 5 points in his final 3 games of the regular season, and he almost averaged a point per game with 31 points in 32 games. Then you go over to the Blizzard, their top line, 3 of their top guys anyways, Miguel Bouvier, as well as Quincy Suprian and Marlon Edwards. Those guys are absolute studs. This is one of the hardest working teams in the MJHL in the Blizzard. They're always up in your face. And when you play at small facilities in your rink, you don't have as much time to use your speed. The Titans have some speed, but they're not going to really be able to use it because the Blizzard come at you hard and they don't give any time off. I mean, home ice advantage, I think it's pretty much a toss-up when it comes down to this series.
Another way you look at this series is how big are the offensive weapons. You've all mentioned the names, and everybody knows how good these teams are. But you look on the back end, and this is maybe, Cody, where the series maybe tilts even more so to the Blizzard. You got to go way down on the scoring list to find Ryan Gower for the Neepawa Titans when it comes to scoring. Meanwhile, you don't have to look too far down. Chichu Latham, if healthy, is one of the best scoring defensemen in the league. 35 points in 39 games. Brent Ward, the heart and soul of that Blizzard club on the back end. I've seen him take a puck to the face, get up, and still try and block another shot. He is so tough. He's up there in scoring this year as well. On the back end, it seems like the Blizzard are a bit bigger, a bit more adept to scoring, and that might cause some issues for the Titans, although neither team defends for a full 60 minutes at times. So take us through what you think on the back end for both these clubs.
Well, they're defensemen for a reason. The goal to play defense. You always want offense from your defense, but ultimately you want your defense to be able to defend. And so sometimes those metrics don't always get to show up with a good, solid defensive defenseman. Now, that being said, when you take a look at the Neepawa Titans this year, their goals against has been a bit of a problem. They only let in 3 fewer goals than the Wawasee Kappa Wolverines, who were considerably behind them in the standings. They let in 189 goals against. They were able to score more goals than what the Blizzard had this year, but it was the goals against that was really a problem for the Neepawa Titans, and their goal differential only being +7. That's something that they're going to want to definitely correct in the playoffs against the tough Blizzard team that we know can score. We talked about those high-end guys, and so it's just going to be which team can show up in the playoffs.
Kevin, special teams always play a factor in a playoff series, but maybe most important in here for the penalty kills to really step up. You look at a guy like Miguel Bouvier, 17 power play goals, 16 power play assists. Meanwhile, you kind of look at the Neepawa Titans and Tim Taconick's got 13 power play goals, Colton Alexander 9, Mason Hartley 8. Special teams and the penalty kill is going to be massive for both these clubs and could be the difference. Your thoughts?
Well, in the regular season, the Neepawa Titans had a point over the Norman Blizzard in power play, and penalty kill. They're almost identical. I think maybe 0.1% separating the two. It's going to be like we say with a lot of the other series. Obviously, it's a contribution by committee, and the Blizzard may have an edge in their top tier, like you talk about scoring defense, but I do like a lot of the mentality that the Titans bring. I think they play a pretty heavy game too. So, there could be some surprises in this one. There could be, if LeBro or Cookett can make the extra save, anything can happen.
Yeah, and if Timmerman falters, they've got another great goaltender in the wings as well. So it's both coaches can feel pretty confident about who they've got going in the crease on any given night. Final random thoughts ahead of the series between Northern Manitoba and Neepawa. Darnell Duff, your final random thoughts.
Well, the Blizzard have been here before. A year ago, they were in a thrilling series with the Kings that seemed like it took forever. And then, as you know, Dave, they had a pretty good series against you guys in the second round. So the Blizzard have been here before. The Titans have not been here before. But I think if you're the Titans, you're more fired up than ever. I think Neepawa has put themselves back on the map when it comes to the MGHL and recruiting talent for future years. I think they're a team that will continue to build off this history-making season, despite the Blizzard already being here before.
Cody Bueller, your random thoughts.
Well, my last kind of random thoughts were kind of like what Darnell said before. I like what Neepawa is doing here with the Titans having made the playoffs last year, and they'd kind of missed a number of years before that. And so making the playoffs last year, this year, the record has improved. They've gotten better. They've taken another step forward. They've got some playoff experience under their belt of some of these guys. And I feel like this is a really good thing for the Titans organization. And I feel that this is going to be even more beneficial for them. And I think they're going to make it a really good series against the Blizzard.
Kevin Pauls?
Yeah, I'm going to carry that another step further. I totally agree with it. This is a great opportunity. Much can be said about the community of the Paw and the history with the Blizzard. In this case, it's another opportunity for the Titans to take a step forward. And, if Neepawa can get behind them, and I remember games back when I'd go up there when the Winkler Flyers would visit, and that was one of the rowdiest buildings I've ever seen. So why can't we expect that now? And if the community gets behind the Titans, maybe they're the X factor.
Great community support always goes a long way, and shout out to the wonderful volunteers on both sides of the coin that have really done a good job to make game ops and make broadcast everything so great this year. Darnell, your thoughts on the series? What's your prediction?
I think, as I mentioned, I just think Neepawa is going to continue to build off what they have over the past couple of years. You make it last year, you improve this year, the community support, the volunteers in Neepawa are always fantastic. I always love going to the Yellowhead Center to chat with them. Ken Pearson has assembled a very good coaching staff. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to the talent on the ice. But they're a pretty darn good hockey team. And I think, as you mentioned, Dave, up the top, they've flown under the radar. I think everybody coming into the year expected the Northern Manitoba Blizzard to make some noise, and they did, ultimately finishing second in the West. But I think the Titans have what it takes to get this series over in 6 games, as long as their goaltending plays up to par, whether it's LeBreau, whether it's Cookett. I think they have some pretty good play on the back end. And offensively, guys like Tim Tyconic, Mason Hartley, and as well, Colton Alexander, as I mentioned, the guy is an absolute stud and super crafty. So I think the Titans win this series in 6.
Cody Bueller, your thoughts from the comfortable East Division?
Well, I've been agreeing with Darnell so much throughout these matchups and previews, but I think with this one, and I've talked really well about the Neepawa Titans so far, but I think that the Blizzard just have a lot of playoff experience. They've got that high-end scoring, and like Kevin was saying, their arena really tough to play in. And so I do give the slight edge to the Blizzard, although I think it's going to be a very close series. And so I do have the Blizzard in 7.
Kevin Pauls, your thoughts?
And I thought for a minute I was going to be the devil's advocate here with just going with Neepawa. I'm going to stick with it. I like the experience that the Blizzard bring. I love some of their players like Quincy Cyprian, amazing young talent here in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, among others, Miguel Bouvier. But I really like the way the Titans are trending. I'm going to pick the Titans in 7.
I like obviously where all your heads are at, and I don't often agree with Cody Bueller, but I'm going to this time, Cody. I think you hit it on the head. I got the Blizzard in 7. I think that they're battle tested. I think that their group coming off that playoff last year, Eric Labrosse, an excellent coach. I think that he's going to push all the right buttons to find a way to get this group, because it's not always about the scoring. Sometimes it's about surviving certain parts of a game or parts of a series and then coming through it. And I think the Blizzard are going to have that. I really like this series. I definitely think it would go 7. I think it would go 9 or 11 or 13 if you could have it go that far down the road. That's how close I think this is going to be. But I think the Blizzard are going to take it in 7. Darnell Duff, an X factor in this series, Blizzard versus Titans. Is there a guy or two that jumps out for you?
I like the play of Tim Tyconic. I've talked a lot about Colton Alexander, but I love Tim Tyconic. The guy will go to war, and there's no doubt about that. It has been proven in the past. He will run through a wall for your team, but he's also very skilled and pretty crafty, and he's a smooth skater. So I think Tim Tyconic goes a long way if the Titans want to win this series.
Cody Bueller, an X factor for the Blizzard versus Titans in round 1.
Well, I think the offense of the Blizzard, I really liked the play of Miguel Bouvier. I think that he can really get an offense going and be a real driver. 37 goals in the regular season. Like, this is a guy to watch. He can be dangerous, especially on the power play. And I think that he's going to be tough to stop for the Titans.
Kevin Pauls, your X factor.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore those guys. I'm with Cody here, but I'm going to stick with Mason Hartley. Pretty evenly balanced attack, 25 goals, 27 assists in the regular season. Big fast forward. I think he's going to be a difference maker for the Neepawa Titans.
Because I get the last word, I'm going to take two guys, one from each side, just because. My pick with the Blizzard is Keenan McNeil. I think he is a spectacular player, big, fast, physical, can score. I think he's going to be one of those guys that if Neepawa targets some of the others, like Marlon Edwards, who's really good, Cyprian and Movie, I think McNeil can kind of swoop in and take that secondary scoring role to another level. And I want to give a shout out to Dawson McCann. Gets traded at the near the start of the year, goes to Neepawa, has a fantastic season. He got roughed up earlier in the year, but he's back. He's playing really well. Scored the other night as well. So I'm a big Dawson McCann fan. So if it goes either way, I feel like I'm covered with an X factor. So Dawson McCann's my guy for the Neepawa Titans. Boys, great to see you, and look forward to round number two. As for sure, one of us is not going to have a team in the race the next time we amass a panel. So thanks for doing this.